Hello, I'm Dan Hounsel, editor of Facility Maintenance Decisions magazine. Thank you for joining us for today's webcast, Protecting Your Buildings from Threats During COVID-19. First, let me introduce the panelists for today's discussion. Eddie Sims is a senior sales executive with Makabe. He has experience managing branch operations, having P&L ownership, overseeing all aspects of a post-merger integration, and creating product offerings and marketing pieces within commercial and retail construction verticals, hospitality and lodging, and the automatic and manual door industry. With more than 22 years working in the industry, he has developed strengths in assessing markets for sales growth opportunities and gaps in product offerings, as well as developing go-to-market strategies. Patrick Cook is a senior director for Eagle Eye Networks. Cook has more than 20 years of experience in the physical security industry. Having held strategic roles within national integration firms and manufacturing leaders, he has managed major industry transitions of analog to IP, the proliferation of high-resolution cameras, and now the shift from on-premise to cloud-based systems. Jim Moran is an account manager for Permatron, a custom air filter manufacturer in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. He has been in the filtration business for 4 years and industrial sales for 8 years. Moran is a National Air Filtration Association certified air filter specialist and serves as chair of the association's Education and Training Committee. Here are today's learning objectives. Learn how to use remote video surveillance from anywhere. Review how to change from touch to touchless access control, and learn how to reduce contractors and service providers on site. Before we get started with today's webcast, here is some housekeeping information for the event. A live question and answer session will follow today's presentation. To submit questions, please navigate to the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and type in your questions. Our presenters will answer as many questions as time permits. At the conclusion of today's webcast, you will receive a PDF copy of today's presentation slides. You also will receive a link to a brief online assessment, and after you have successfully completed the assessment, you will receive your CEU certificate. We will archive today's webcast at FacilitiesNet.com/webcasts. Now, on to the session, Protecting Your Buildings from Threats During COVID-19. Over the last decade, facility managers in institutional and commercial facilities have devoted a growing amount of resources to protecting buildings, assets, and occupants from threats, and just as importantly, to returning those facilities to operation as quickly as possible. This growing focus on organizational resilience has addressed the usual suspects of emergency preparedness, including flooding, wildfires, and power outages. In recent years, managers have added cyber attacks and mass shootings to the list of threats to address in emergency preparedness. Then came the coronavirus. Facility managers in every organization now have moved COVID-19 to the top of their threat list. In order to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and ensure the safety and health of workplaces, they're rethinking and updating key aspects of their facilities. Today, our panelists will discuss 3 technologies that offer facility managers opportunities to improve organizational resilience by enhancing the protection of facilities, assets, and occupants from a range of potential threats. So let's start the discussion with a look at the role of video surveillance technology in protecting our facilities. Our first speaker is Patrick Cook with Eagle Eye Networks. Patrick, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Very excited to be here with you today, and thank you so much for joining us. As Dan stated, my name is Patrick Cook, and I am the sales director for North America here at Eagle Eye Networks. Eagle Eye was founded in 2012 by Dean Draco, who was also the founder of Barracuda Networks. It is definitely worth the time to do a Google or LinkedIn profile search on Dean when you have a moment. Simply put, Eagle Eye is the #1 leader in cloud surveillance. We have offices in Austin, Amsterdam, Tokyo, and Colombia. and we do business in well over 80 countries to date and have 11 data centers located globally. Over the past 8 years, Eagle Eye has been recognized for numerous achievements in the video surveillance segment. From ClearSea's research, Eagle Eye was identified as the most recognized brand in VSaaS, which is Video Surveillance as a Service. Deloitte also recently recognized Eagle Eye as one of the fastest growing technology firms in North America. And IHS recognized Eagle Eye for their #1 global position in cloud surveillance. This recognition is a result of Eagle Eye's commitment to exceeding the needs of our partners and continuing to evangelize the benefits of cloud surveillance to the broader marketplace. So let's talk about cloud surveillance in more general terms. As you can see on the slide here, we've identified quite a few areas of value as it relates to cloud-based environments. Overall cost savings relative to TCO. You minimize the front-end large capital expenditures that are required for on-premise systems. Additionally, there is less cost associated with maintaining cloud-based systems year over year. Innate security benefits that cloud alone provides. On-premise systems are vulnerable to physical threats from the site. Remote maintenance equates to fewer truck rolls to site. Because the software lives in the cloud, there is little to no maintenance required. Our bridges can be remotely monitored for health, and switches can be powered cycled remotely, which can address camera concerns, possibly due to power fluctuations at the site. Flexible retention per camera and no restrictions due to on-premise server limitations. So if you want to record each camera at a different resolution and a different retention, you can. If new local, state, or federal requirements force you to extend retention times, you simply change that criteria and eliminate the need to add physical servers to your environment. Scalability, unlimited growth. Zero restrictions to the size of the system you require for your environment. Functionality and access exists on a global scale. Increased stability, less bottlenecks and points of failures. So think DVRs and NVRs. Hard drives in general have a life cycle. Cloud is perpetual. And then we have disaster recovery. Again, innate to cloud environments. Eagle Eye data centers are triple redundant. So how does Eagle Eye work in the cloud environment? In a nutshell, you can install our system into almost any network environment. We simply install a bridge identified by the red circle to connect your camera network to our cloud-based VMS and triple redundant data centers. IP or analog cameras does not matter. The bridge acts as a buffer when sending video to the cloud, and from there you have unlimited users that can access the video through our mobile app or web browser without impacting your local network. Keep in mind that all cloud surveillance offerings in the marketplace are not always pure cloud. A majority of the systems being offered out there are still stored locally on site and simply use cloud component for archiving video clips only. So when you think of Eagle Eye, remember that it is true cloud when it comes to video surveillance. Eagle Eye provides additional benefits as well. Broad camera support. In almost all applications, we do not require you to replace your existing camera base. We use on-VIF connection to provide video. This is an industry standard protocol. Eagle Eye also has advanced analytics, of which I'll cover on a future slide. And then an open API that allows us to integrate with third-party systems. So think about intrusion systems, cash register systems, environmental sensors, and the list goes on. And lastly, enhanced cybersecurity measures. Eagle Eye encrypts the video at the point of capture and manages that encryption throughout the entire process. All of these benefits allow us to address building threats enhanced by the impact of COVID to our working environments. And that is obviously something that is impacting everybody on this webinar, unfortunately. The most common challenges that we are finding at this moment are failure of existing systems to support remote business continuity. Most companies today are set up to function internally between four solid walls. COVID has changed that. Secondly, the majority of existing systems provide different user experiences, from workstations to mobile apps to web browser interfaces. For the most part, these differences are realized as a loss in functionality across those systems. Remote employees cannot execute their roles when hampered by a loss of access to daily tools. And then lastly, cybersecurity concerns. For employees to work remotely, current network environments have to be adjusted to account for these resources. Most companies can easily support small groups of remote users, but COVID has created scenarios in which entire staffs have been required to work from home. Many networks were stressed to support this. The answer to these threats is Eagle Eye Networks. We address these concerns right out of the box. And you will also note that these threats are more business operational in nature as opposed to a physical security threat that you typically associate to video surveillance. To that regard, this is where I would highlight the analytic functionality, which we can apply per camera and per time frame just as easily as it can be removed when not required. So line crossing are objects in areas that they shouldn't be. People counting. COVID requirements state facilities need to be at reduced capacity. So how are you measuring 25% capacity? How are you measuring 50% capacity? Camera tampering. Alerts on critical camera feeds in sensitive areas. Think about loitering. Think long lines at checkouts or waiting to enter a facility. Security threats possibly at ATM environments is a good example. And then of course we have intrusion, which is simply the physical building breach. Now overall, Eagle Eye continues to develop the system functionality to address these threats of today and those we will encounter in the future. Guys, that's my time this morning, everyone. I hope you pulled some value from this quick discussion. I'm happy to answer any and all questions during our Q&A segment or as a follow-up after the webinar has concluded. Please stay engaged and stay safe out there. Dan, back to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Patrick, for that look at the role of video surveillance technology in protecting facilities and occupants. Now let's turn to another technology that is designed to enhance the safety of facilities and workplaces in the face of potential threats, and that is access control. Our speaker is Eddie Sims with Makabe. Eddie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dan, and FMD and Trade Press for having me, and I want to thank you all for joining this webcast. I am Eddie Sims, Senior Manager for Makabe in our retail and commercial vertical markets in the Americas. At Makabe, we make access in life smart, secure, and safe. Now, building threats come in many different types, shapes, and forms. Today, I'm going to discuss 3 of them and many of the solutions Makabe can provide. The first building threat is the new invisible threat, COVID-19. This virus has radically changed our society, heightened our awareness, and challenged our understanding of touching door handles, lever sets, and more. Makabe has complete touch-to-touchless solutions for the entire building. Most every pedestrian manual door can be automated with the new Makabe ED low-energy surface-applied swing door operator, either the 50, 100, or 250 models as shown on the slide, integrated with an RCI touchless wave-to-open activation switch. The ED line of operators come equipped with additional relay ports and a UL-listed built-in power supply to integrate with other components like panic devices, electric strikes, or other security hardware. The touchless activation switches can also be integrated with a remote to activate the door from a check-in station or by security. Fully automatic sliding entrance systems can also provide complete touchless access. Makabe is also an industry leader for automatic revolving door systems, providing a touch-free accessibility. Makabe also has 33 factory-owned service branches and installation branches located throughout the United States to provide a full turnkey furnish and install solution for any of your entrance system needs. All our technicians are ADAM certified, which stands for the American Association of Automatic Door Manufacturers. It's the only recognizable certification an automatic door technician can achieve. We can provide planned maintenance for any automatic entrance system, and we can service and maintain other manual doors throughout your building. And launching just this week, we have a new touch-to-touchless interactive site that leads the customer through many products and solutions specifically geared toward their individual building needs. You enter the website, as you can see on the slide, touchfreeaccess.com, and immediately begin choosing your facility type and start mapping your current access methods. Once you have chosen the opening type or types that you want solutions for, you're presented with options for that space. The prompts then take you to the recommended solution for you, your openings, and your access methods for your individual facility. And based on your input, we provide both short-term considerations and long-term solutions. We truly hope that you're going to find this website helpful. The second building threat is the exterior threat, from unauthorized personnel, bad actors, and rioters to active shooter situations. Makabe offers fully networked and wireless access control management systems. Our RCI and KeyScan product brands provide solutions for buildings of any size. KeyScan Aurora software incorporates mobile access with online or wireless access control management systems that merge security with convenience. Using integrated access control allows you to tie in physical controls as well. For example, the security revolvers can be put into a lockdown mode, or optical swing lanes and sensor barriers can be used to control building access and monitor building capacity. Our Argus sensor barriers, as shown on this slide, integrate with any access control system, have different security levels for anti-tailgating and anti-piggybacking requirements, provide audio and visual alarms for unauthorized passage, and are truly contactless. Unfortunately, building threats like shootings are on the rise in public spaces and have been in schools. And when these incidents occur, there is no time for delay. The average active shooting incident is over in 10 to 15 minutes, but much can happen before authorities can arrive to the scene. The shelter lockdown system gives security and administrators a quick course of action to lock down buildings, campuses, or even zones with the click of a button. For perimeter doors, our precision exit devices provide security and offer visual indication, allowing facility personnel to quickly identify doors in either the locked or unlocked position. Delayed egress alarmed exit devices can be used to prevent outside intruders as well as internal shrinkage. They can be integrated with active shooter technology platforms to allow instant egress, eliminating those critical 15 to 30 seconds before the door releases. And specifically in education environments, when dealing with an active shooter situation, according to the EduRisk website, no active school shooter has breached a locked classroom door, which means no loss of life has occurred to persons inside a locked room. Nothing saves lives like a swift response or a locked door. And the third building threat I want to discuss today is the internal threat. In retail environments, staff turnover can be high. Theft is a constant risk, and shrinkage is a continual issue. For retail and commercial organizations, the cost benefit of controlling every door becomes a simple return on investment calculation. Physical keys are still used and will be for quite some time. However, keys do not truly provide access control. They provide the illusion of access control. Can keys be shared? Yes, they can. Can they be copied? Yes. Do employees leave with their keys when they quit or are terminated? Yes. And are keys inexpensive? Well, that kind of depends on your understanding of all the costs surrounding the use of physical keys. Some have estimated the cost for a full building access control deployment could be upwards of $3,000 per door or more. The new Makabe SwitchTech Digital Core by Best offers a new cost-benefit model that organizations should find attractive and helps overcome many internal threats. This new technology can convert most any small format interchangeable core to a digital core in mere minutes. Please watch this brief video.
We all know what a standard mechanical lock with an interchangeable core looks like. They're installed in buildings everywhere. We also know that a building filled with mechanical locks requires managing an extensive system of physical keys. Keys that get lost, copied, or simply walk away when an employee does. And that leaves you to rekey or replace not just one core, but sometimes dozens. Replacing every lock in your building with electronic locks would eliminate rekeying and give you greater control. But equipment and installation costs can make the move to digital impractical. Introducing SwitchCore by Best with technology that delivers access intelligence to the core and makes mechanical SFIC equipped locks digital. SwitchCore is the world's first small format digital core. It uses mobile credentials, fits cylindrical, mortise, and other SFIC equipped locks, and effectively replaces physical keys with a mobile credential or fob. With SwitchCore, mechanical locks can be made digital instantly and integrated into your existing access control system without adding costly infrastructure. SwitchCore gives you the benefits of intelligent control by door and user, assigning permissions, controlling access, recording entry times, and more. SwitchCore uses a proven, secure Bluetooth protocol from a mobile app or fob to grant access. The user touches the knob to wake the core, twists as you would a physical key to unlock, then opens the door. A red light indicates if access is denied. Most SFIC-equipped locks can be changed to SwitchCore easily and affordably. There's nothing to wire, no gateways to add, no door hardware to install or upgrade. Simply count the number of doors you want to convert. SwitchCore makes switching from existing key systems fast and affordable, enabling digital access in more places than ever. SwitchCore by Best. It's mechanical, made digital, and it's coming soon to locks of every kind, everywhere.
Now, during our research and development of SwitchTech, we spoke with many national retailers about their internal threats. One told us about an estimated shrinkage that they were experiencing, which equated to upwards of $20 million per year across all of their locations. It was occurring where employees had access to a single padlock with a physical key. Now, how much did that key really cost?
We all know what a standard mechanic.
Sorry about that technical difficulty there, but I just want to thank you again for allowing me the time to cover some products and solutions that Makabe can provide for different types of building threats. My contact information is on this slide, which all of you will receive a copy of, and we truly look forward to helping you with your threat needs and answering questions at the end of this presentation. Now, I'll turn it back over to Dan.
All right, thank you, Eddie, for your insights on the role of access control technology in protecting facilities and occupants. And now let's turn to a technology that is playing a central role in many facilities managers' efforts to ensure the health of indoor environments at a time when that aspect of facilities is getting a great deal of attention. And that aspect is air filtration. Our speaker this morning is Jim Moran with Permatron. Jim, take it away.
Jim, you may have to unmute.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I don't know if there's a way to go back. My unmute button had disappeared there for a second. All right, guys, sorry about those technical difficulties there. My name is Jim Moran with Permatron, and today we're going to talk to you a little bit about air filtration. So here on the first slide, just really quickly want to go over some of the associations that we're affiliated with. NAFA, INDA, AFE, the United States Green Building Council. A lot of our products that you will see today are UL classified, and we are also part of ASHRAE. So with everything going on right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are seeing a lot of changes in the air filtration industry. The biggest response we are seeing is people are moving from comfort to safety. Typically throughout the years, a lot of people look at air filtration and ventilation as just how to keep people comfortable. Now we're seeing with COVID and other airborne viruses that we really need to focus on air filtration for safety. We're seeing rapid transition to higher efficiency air filters, MERV 13 through HEPA. There's a really high cost associated with that, and MERV 13 filters have become very, very hard to track down. Demand is greatly outweighing supply at the moment. And we're also seeing people move to UV, which in concert with filtration, UV is great. The problem with UV is that it can deteriorate synthetic media filters without a UV resistant additive. So that's where you'll see our products, our black polypropylene media is UV resistant and is a great thing to use in conjunction with UV. Moving further along with the COVID-19 and the changes we're seeing in the air filtration space, we're seeing filter changeouts have changed significantly. Where you used to be able to send one person onto the roof to pull out your pre-filters and put the new ones in, you're now seeing where you have to assume that there is active microbiological material on them. This is going to require people to use PPE. This is going to require a bag out service where right when they pull the filters out, they have to put them in a bag and seal them. And this, of course, is going to increase your system downtime and labor. A lot of times we're seeing where it was a one-person job, it's now 2 or 3 people up there in full PPE. And then ventilation relies on dilution. Keep systems running longer hours to increase air changes and enhance filtration, 100% exhaust and 100% fresh air. So restricted airflow from environmental debris is a major problem for HVAC equipment. I think that this is often overlooked. People have a tendency to focus on the filtration of the air once it enters the building. What we really want to look at is what we're doing to the air as it's getting into the system. When your coils are clogged, you're going to see longer cycle times that reduce capacity. You're going to see higher energy consumption. You're going to see higher temperatures. You're going to come into contact with costly repairs, maintenance, and downtime, and you're going to shorten your equipment life. As everybody on here knows, the rooftop equipment and your HVAC equipment is very, very expensive. And one thing we try to do is make that equipment last as long as possible. What is it costing your facility? According to EPA research, 0.042 inches of dirt on an AC coil can reduce efficiency by 21%. A dirty condenser coil runs 80% of the time fighting dirt when it should operate at 30% during mild weather. AC equipment operating with dirty coils can use as much as 37% more energy than equipment with clean coils. A 10-ton AC system now only provides 7 tons of cooling. Dirty condensers restrict heat transfer, causing the compressor to work harder. Rising head pressure results in a loss of cooling capacity of 30%. All right, so now that we know what the problems are once your coils are getting clogged and you're having trouble with your air intakes, let's take a look at the solution. What we can offer is the Prevent system, which is an exterior air intake protection system. An applied-based filter that fits over your air intake system to stop airborne debris before it gets into your HVAC coils and fins. The biggest and the first question we often get is, yeah, the product sounds great, it looks great, how do I attach it to my unit? We actually have two different mounting options. Our first and most popular is our Magna mount. It's a neodymium earth magnet with a simple, quick attachment. You simply stick it to your unit, you slide the grommet over the post, you flip the tab down, and your filter is installed. The additional option we have is the exact same mechanism, but this comes with two self-tapping screws. So where you see the rivets in the Magna mount, you would simply see two holes where you'd use two self-tapping screws. The biggest benefit of our product versus not having our product is that it is simple to clean. You'll see coil cleaning jobs where coils are clogged up and you have people up there where they have pressure washers, they have chemicals, they're blowing stuff out. You got 2 or 3 guys, they're running water up there and it's taking them several hours. Ours is simple to clean with a broom or a shop vac. It also simplifies cleaning hard to reach fins and coils. A lot of times you see guys up on ladders trying to clean the coils, are getting up into the hot water basin in their cooling tower. That takes a lot of work to get up there. Our filter works to stop the particulate before it enters the system, sits right on the outside of the unit, and you're able to clean it very easily. You're also able to clean it in place with absolutely no system downtime. Our product is made to be cleaned in place while your system is running. And then large facilities with 100 air handling units can average 200 coil cleaning procedures per year, which really adds up. So Prevent is simply your best choice. What we offer is custom size to fit all air intakes. I have yet to see a unit that we're not able to provide air intake protection for. All of our products are made in the USA, right in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, about 5-10 minutes from O'Hare Airport. As we discussed earlier, our black media provides UV protection. We're UL classified. All of our products come standard with a 5-year warranty. Extremely low initial resistance, and independent testing has showed that attaching a Prevent filter caused less than 1% change in compressor discharge pressure. So now that we covered the product a little bit, I simply want to click through some application photos for everybody. I found with our product, especially for people who haven't seen it before, pictures really are worth 1,000 words. So on the left-hand side there, you'll see a typical RTU. In the middle, you'll see some economizers. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see some fan coils. So whether there's a coil behind there, it's your fresh air intake, we have experience with all applications. Again, on the left-hand side here, you'll see a typical chiller, rather large in size. You'll see a Marley cooling tower there in the middle, and then on the right-hand side, you will see another RTU. And then this slide is great. The cooling tower fans, you see how we make the circular photo. The dry cooler in the middle, a lot of times when people have dry coolers, they're not sure how to attach it in the bottom. We can simply put a pocket in there and you weigh it down with PVC or conduit. And then on the right-hand side is a compressor. So we do also work on indoor applications. A lot of times compressors will come with either no filter on them, or people will be using blue poly pads that they have to cut the size, put in there, change frequently. What we can offer is a permanent solution for your compressor air intakes. Another slide just showing some pattern cuts here for you. Custom shapes on the left-hand side. On the middle, you know, chillers almost always are going to have some kind of piping running to them. We can simply cut that out in the factory and provide a hook loop where you just pull it over the top, close it up, and then the pipe runs right through it. You know, what I really like to tell people is if you can draw it, we can make it. So we've gotten quite a few drawings over the years, and we have yet to run into anything that we can't do. So air intake protection, what is in it for you? The 3 biggest things is that you're going to save on energy, you're going to save on labor, and you're going to save on repairs. Really what we focus on with our product is the middle one, save on labor. We find that we can show a 1 to 2 year ROI typically just on labor cost alone. And with that, if you remember what I talked about earlier, our product does have a 5-year warranty on it. So really, more or less what we're guaranteeing you is that you're going to take our product in, you're going to see a 1 to 2 year ROI, and then that product's going to last at an absolute minimum of 5 years. So really when you break down all the costs, you'll see that once you put our products on there, you get a pretty quick payback, and it's going to make your life a lot easier as well. Last product I'm going to talk to you guys about really quickly is our Model IN electrostatic air filters. What we've been using this for over the last several years is a replacement for metal mesh filters. What we've come to find in the field is that a lot of people are using metal mesh filters and they don't necessarily know why. Their equipment might have come with them originally, or they might have been using them their entire career, and they don't know that an alternative exists. So what our Model IN does, it provides better filtration, low resistance to airflow. It's extremely easy to clean. It comes in galvanized stainless steel or aluminum frames. Our black polypropylene option for UV application, again, if you're seeing any kind of sunlight or you're using a UV system, our product is great for that. We have short lead times on any size. So a lot of times you'll see these metal mesh sizes. They might not necessarily be your 20 by 20. They might be a 13.5 by 32.5. We can make that for you very quickly. And again, like the rest of our products, it comes standard with a 5-year warranty. Last slide for me here, guys, and I just like to throw this on here. This is, a lot of people, this might be the first time that you're hearing about our company. But we throw this slide on here to show you we do work with some of the largest companies in the world. So, don't think that it's a new product and it's new to the market. It's just one of those things that typically goes on a rooftop, saves people time and money, and it's not necessarily right out there in the front of everybody's view all the time. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people, it's the first time they're hearing about the product. But if there's any questions at all that you guys have, would be happy to answer them. And we've seen just about every application out there. All right, thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you, Jim, for the information on the role of air filtration in protecting indoor environments. Before we get to the Q&A section of our webcast, just a couple of housekeeping announcements. Just a reminder that at the conclusion of today's webcast, you will receive a PDF copy of today's presentation slides, and you also will receive a link to a brief online assessment. After you complete the assessment successfully, you will receive your CEU certificate. And in addition to that, we will archive today's webcast at facilitiesnet.com/webcasts. So now that we've heard these insights on the roles of video surveillance, access control, and air filtration in protecting facilities, assets, and occupants, let's move to the questions. And a reminder to submit your questions. Please navigate to the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and type in your questions. We will get to as many as time permits. So the first question, we've got a couple of product-specific questions. The first one is for, I believe, Jim. An attendee is asking, what is the drop in airflow for the pre-filters that you mentioned?
Yeah, so 0.02 initial, and it is on that slide as well. And if that attendee would like to reach out to me, I can send the airflow data that we do have. But typically 1% change in initial airflow, as long as that you're keeping the filter clean.
All right. From an attendee, a question for Eddie, I believe. The question is, in this age of COVID-19, it appears that the switchcore product is not touchless. Is there an alternative to provide the same type of features of this product without touching the device to activate or wake it up?
Well, I know that currently just tapping it either with your elbow or with some object rather than physically touching the end is also a way to wake that particular lock up. Because the Switch Tech product itself truly just replaces the key, there are some applications that we are working on with certain types of either antimicrobial or copper type of coatings that may be able to help reduce the spread of microbes or bacteria with that, but currently that product still does need to physically be touched. However, I believe there is also a way though that once the activation occurs with unlocking that door, then signals can be sent to power open that door if it's integrated with an automatic swing door operator to reduce the physical turning of a lever or a knob. I'd be happy for that person to contact me and we can get the subject matter experts on Switch Tech to make sure that we answer any of those questions.
All right. And a question, another question regarding filtration for Jim. The question is regarding filters and filter capture particles. Do you offer something that kills or eliminates the COVID virus?
So we don't personally. What we do is we offer products that work in conjunction with those products. One of the slides I had touched on is really what we're seeing is filters moving to HEPA or at an absolute minimum MERV 13. HEPA filters are incredibly expensive and MERV 13 filters are incredibly hard to find. So what our filters do, once you insert those filters, our filters allow those to last a lot longer. But as far as anything we offer that kills that directly, we don't. As far as I know, UV would be the only way you're going to kill the virus directly. You can use the HEPA and the MERV 13 filters to capture the virus, though.
All right. Patrick, a question for you. Is there a limit to how many users can be added to the Eagle Eye Network's platform, and are there any extra costs associated with the added users?
Sure. Thank you very much for that question. You can add unlimited users actually to the system there. It's really just how far the client wants to extend that system. And there are no additional costs actually associated with each user that's added to the system. It's really the cost is associated to each camera added to those systems and the retention time and the resolutions that you want to associate to those individual cameras recording. So yep, no additional costs and unlimited users.
All right. And we have another question that's come in for you, Patrick. Is the Eagle Eye Network compatible with Black Creek or Galaxy networks?
Galaxy, yes. Black Creek, I would actually have to check into, and so I will provide that as a follow-up question to this webinar.
Sure. A question for Eddie from one of our attendees. Do you have lock software that has direct integration to platforms like Airbnb that will create individual user codes for short-term guests?
Absolutely, and thank you for that question. We have an entire group of people dedicated to multi-housing products. As a matter of fact, Makabe is one of the world's largest manufacturer of rental locks, electronic locks, and hotel locks. So yes, we do have Airbnb, VRBO, and we'd be happy to provide some additional information to take care of whatever that need is.
All right. Any question regarding Eagle Eye Networks? Is the Eagle Eye Network available on a STAIR, I believe it's pronounced, or government purchasing contracts?
It's very limited at this time. What we are bumping up into, against, I should say, is a FedRAMP qualification that typically defines presence in a federal government environment. But we do have some installations and some references that we work through, and we continue to work with our FedGov partners to develop that further. So if there is something unique to an opportunity that you are particularly looking at, let's continue the conversation after the webinar, and it might be something that we can still facilitate for you.
All right. A question regarding filtration filters. I believe this is for you, Jim. Would a MERV 7 plus your screen be equal to a HEPA filter?
No, it would not. Really, all of the products we do, and I do like to stress this even before the COVID pandemic, is our filter is not meant to be the final stage of filtration or aid in your final stage of filtration. What our product is designed to do is capture the large particulate so it doesn't clog up your more expensive MERV filters, your pre-filters, and then moving back to your V-banks or your HEPA filters. But no, I would not recommend using our product with a MERV 7 product to contain the virus.
All right, Jim, let's keep you going here. We've got a question, I believe, for you. An attendee is asking for a comment on plasma inserted into the supply plenum.
In regards to our filters?
I believe so.
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, I don't have a ton of information on that. If you would like to send over that question, I can definitely get with the engineers at our company and get an answer for you.
We will do that.
I don't want to give you any bad information.
For access control for Makabe, do you sell only in the USA or do you have international representation?
Thank you for that question. Makabe is truly a global organization. We actually have distributors of our products in over 100 countries. So yes, we truly are a global organization. Our international headquarters is based in Zurich. So yes, we can handle product deliveries for multiple different applications all around the globe.
All right. Eddie, a question regarding access control. An attendee is asking what is the process, I suppose, for deciding on the right touchless solution for any particular building?
Oh, thanks. It's a great question. And that really leads right to that slide that I presented for our new landing site, touchfreeaccess.com, where it's a very interactive site. It takes the individual person through checking exactly what their individual needs are, what opening type they have, whether it's a locked room, whether it's an unlocked or non-latching bathroom situation. And it explains exactly what that process is, what products are needed, what are some additional considerations for that particular opening. A lot of times it's just as simple as contacting one of our regional sales representatives or local representatives out of our factory branches to just do a quick survey of your building to find out what are your needs, what are your pain points, what are some of the most highly trafficked areas where people typically touch those doors, and then we can formulate based on your individual needs the exact solution that you have or that you need.
All right, very good. Jim, another question for you on filtration from an attendee. Do you deal with needlepoint bipolar ionization for the HVAC systems?
Again, I apologize. That's something I'm not super familiar with. Our product specifically, though, nothing that jumps out at me. No, sorry.
All right. Patrick, a question regarding surveillance. What if an attendee already has a video surveillance system in place? Is it still possible to use Eagle Eye Networks in that case?
Yeah, that's a great question there, and we run into that quite frequently. So we can do a couple of things. One, we obviously can replace the head end of that system and typically reuse the infrastructure and the existing cameras to convert it to a cloud-based video system at that point. The other thing we can do is what we refer to as a cloud replication, and that is essentially where we take a secondary or a third stream off of the existing cameras, and we actually connect them to our system and into the cloud from there. This does not in any way hamper the existing system that's on site. So any manufacturer that you have out there, you can continue to work in that environment. Generally, we would do a cloud replication type of installation when, again, some local or state or federal government has layered a requirement for retention, and maybe it's mid-year and the budgets aren't there to provide additional servers or extend the system that's currently in place. We can be that deeper cloud retention behind it, so we can immediately provide you 10 years worth of storage retention if that's what's needed in that situation.
All right. Just a reminder to attendees, we still do have time for questions. If you have some to submit, you can do that by navigating to the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and typing in your questions. Let's go to a question on, and Eddie, you may have covered this, but I want to make sure. A question from a national retailer. Can Makabe provide building threat products and services nationwide?
Absolutely. Again, thanks for the question. Makabe has, as I mentioned earlier, those 33 factory-owned branches that are located throughout the United States, but then we have hundreds of nationwide and national channel partners for any and all of our different product solutions, whether they're the automatic doors, whether it's a service issue, whether it's electronic access and data products for true access control, or even those entrance systems like those optical barriers or revolving door systems. So yes, with our vast network of distributor partners and channel partners and factory branches, we have the entire nation covered.
All right, Eddie, let's keep you going here. An attendee is asking about the touchfreeaccess.com site. She says, I noticed that the site only addresses hospitality and K-12 schools.
Again, thanks for going to the site. It just launched actually today. We should be adding in for additional what we call vertical markets for retail, commercial, government, healthcare, and other verticals over the next week. The interesting thing about that, though, is when you consider an opening, a lot of openings are similar in scope and in application, whether it's a latched or locked room, whether it's a door that does not lock or latch, if it's certain types of openings within buildings, many of them have similar characteristics. So I would just encourage that particular person just to go to the site and take a look at the different opening types. And even though it may be K through 12 in hospitality today, find the one that most fits what their individual needs are. But then please check back to the site, because over the next weeks, we will be adding those additional vertical applications to specifically gear in on just what those needs are.
And just so I didn't miss it, Eddie, she follows up and asks about the government installations. That will be part of the site.
Absolutely. There will be a government vertical application as well.
All right. A question for Patrick. Does the Eagle Eye Network's cloud video surveillance system work with other integrations?
Yes, it does. I touched on it briefly in the PowerPoint relative to our API integrations, and that's a standard protocol for disparate systems to work together. So we can actually connect with and integrate with access control systems, fire systems, HVAC systems, lighting control systems, and then you can get into more niche specialties. So we can tie into AI analytics processing centers. We can tie into job control. And I'm thinking of sensor details for products, maybe like in retail, sensors on clothing and product sets. So there's a lot of different things that we can do when it comes to those integrations. It's really about, what products are you currently working with, and where do you see your environments moving forward in addressing the risks and the concerns that are coming up to them in, from a business operation standpoint.
All right. Eddie, we have another question from Christine, and a shout out to Christine for your participation and interest today. Christine is asking Eddie, does Makabe have any products for securing exterior gates?
Exterior gates, actually we do. Through our, what we call our RCI products, that's our electronic access and data, we actually have a gate lock that's called our YG80. And it is specifically a gate locking application. Makabe does not manufacture gates, but we do manufacture a secured locking system for that. And if she would email me, I would be more than happy to email her the contact information or the specific information around those YG80 gate locks.
And my sense is that you will be hearing from Christine.
Wonderful.
A question for all of the panelists. And I guess maybe I'll start with you, Jim. There's a lot of information floating around. There's a lot of questions being asked by the attendees and managers and facilities all over the country about various kinds of applications and technologies. I wonder if Jim, again, let's start with you. Is there a myth or misconception about anything related to air filtration or your company's products or the applications for them? Anything that you would like to address in terms of clearing up a myth about anything in particular in your category?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. One of the big things as we kind of prepared to do this trade show was where it really stood out to me that air filtration always should be about safety and making sure that the people in your building are breathing clean air. What we saw over the years is that it moved strictly to a comfort thing where people were worried to make it as comfortable for people, make sure nobody's complaining it's too hot, it's too cold, there's not too much humidity in the building. So really, I think this virus made everybody aware that the air that you're breathing inside is incredibly important, perhaps the most important thing about your building. And we are seeing people move to those HEPA filters and those MERV 13 filters, and you're seeing MERV 13 filter manufacturers just weren't ready for this, so they're not available anymore. And what we really try to do, and I hope that I touched on it, was we try to be the first barrier of entry so that you can use higher efficiency filters behind there, and those filters are going to last as long as they should, if not longer, and they're going to do what they're supposed to do. So we really think that there is a space for our product to fit in while you upgrade the cooling system. And then just the general HVAC system in your building. Our product really is a good fit to help with that.
Very good. Patrick, let's move on to you in terms of the video surveillance marketplace. Any myth or misconception that you care to address?
Yeah, just a couple. Really, the traditional myth has really been around how secure are cloud-based systems. And honestly, I think that's been debunked here, especially over the last few years. I mean, most of the systems and tools we use from an office standpoint have all moved to cloud as it is. Think Microsoft 365 and Google G Suite and other applications like that. If I can relate it to COVID right now, I would probably say that you're seeing a lot of technology and a lot of marketing around and kind of implementation of thermal cameras right now. And the idea is that these thermal cameras are not they're very valuable to us. First of all, it's going to help you identify certain people that fit that profile that have an elevated temperature, at least at the skin level. The myth associated to it is that, as I'm sitting here telling you specifically that, Dan, you have a temperature of 102 and you need to follow a different process. And so the part of that myth is that, it's still incumbent upon the end user to understand their environment and how to actually execute that notification that somebody possibly presents a risk, right? And how they go about protecting the rest of the people in that environment, and of course, managing the needs of the person identified in that situation. All these things are very relevant when you talk about a lot of the discussions that you see with K through 12 environment. Do we go back? Do we stay remote? You see that at municipalities. Is it worth the risk of bringing people back to work at these offices? And so a lot of these things are coming into play. I would say that there's still definitely a learning curve on how to implement these within your environment. For our office alone, we've got 4 different types of thermals that will do different alarms and alerts based on the information it pulls from as you enter into the front door. So a lot of good things there, but that's kind of the latest one associated to COVID of late.
Okay. And Eddie, let's move on to you. Any myths or misconceptions in the access control market that you would like attendees to know about?
Well, Dan, thank you. Recently, I attended an online seminar with a lot of loss prevention VPs throughout the country, and there was a misconception, I believe, that a delayed egress alarmed exit device was really not suitable for a retail environment any longer, especially when you're dealing with an active shooter situation because of that potential delay feature of the alarmed exit device. Typically, they're used around the rear or perimeter of a building so that you prevent that theft occurring, you prevent that shrinkage from occurring, so that when you depress the bar of that panic device, an alarm goes off, but typically a 15 to 30 second delay before the latch retracts and allows the person to exit. All of those exit devices currently have to be integrated into a fire alarm. So in the imminent threat or building threat of a fire, instantly that delay feature is shunted and allows for instant egress. That same ability that ties into a fire alarm can be tied into multiple other access control or deterrent products like active shooter technology platforms, and even other shelter programs like ours, where the depressing of a single button can allow for instant egress out of that. So I think something to debunk is if someone is wanting to control theft, control shrinkage, but also wants to make sure that they provide that secure yet safe environment in the event of a building threat, it's not an either or. You can have both, and we can help with that solution.
All right. A few more questions here from attendees before we wrap up. Eddie, we'll keep you on the microphone. Does Makabe offer door installs, replacements, or repairs?
Absolutely. Through our factory branches located throughout the country and with our distribution channel partners located also nationwide, we can provide a full turnkey solution for furnishing and installing any of our entrance system products, whether it's a low energy operator like we talked about today for a restroom or an ADA application, a full automatic sliding entrance system, revolving door, sensor barriers, any of our access control products, we can provide nationwide a full turnkey furnish and install solution.
Very good. Jim, we have two questions for you here. The first is, do you have info on electrostatic filtration?
Hi, sorry about that. Yeah, so I do, and depending on how specific it is, if you could send me an email, I'd be happy to answer any questions you do have. One of the misconceptions ties in a little bit there about electrostatic filtration. One thing to keep in mind is the electrostatic properties of our filters come via the naturally passive electrostatic properties of polypropylene. So with our product, you're never going to have to worry about creating a spark if you're using it in an environment where you absolutely can't have any sparks. Our product is not going to do that. It's just the same as using polypropylene anywhere else. But if you have a more specific question, if you could email it to me, I'd be more than happy to answer that for you.
All right. And finally, from my favorite attendee, Christine has yet another question regarding filtration. How wind resistant is the attachment of the prevent filters for facilities that are prone to high winds? And then she's got a second part of that one. Does each type of attachment have a tab type fastener to secure the filter?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Probably going to answer that in one answer. The two mounts that we have, the mechanism for attaching it to the unit is going to be the exact same. It's just going to be what's on the back, either the magnet mount or the if you're going to use two screws to attach it. Now, with that said, our magnetic mount is a great option. It's a neodymium earth magnet, one of the strongest in the world. With that said, at about 60 mile per hour winds, they can start to shift a little bit. So they're not necessarily going to come off your unit, but they can move around where you have to get up there and you have to straighten it back out. So what we do, and especially in places where they have high wind, if you screw in the corners and then use magnets everywhere else, we've wind tested that up to 100 miles an hour and have had no issues whatsoever.
Very good. Well, with that, I will say thank you to all of our attendees. A special thanks to our panelists and sponsors, Eagle Eye Networks, Makabe, and Permatron. I'm Dan Hounsel, editor of Facility Maintenance Decisions magazine, and this concludes today's webcast. Thank you.
Thank you.